Hello everyone. My name is Phil Harrison. I'm an enrolled member of the Navajo Nation here in the United States. I am a former uranium miner and I am a former remediation worker where a lot of these contaminations were placed underground. And today I'm honored and privileged to come before you, let you know what we have been doing, what we have worked on the Navajo Nation. Today, I'm coming from the White Mesa Ute Travel Land in Utah, where we are having a conference. We have many speakers here, but one of the reasons why that we're here is that the White Mesa Utes neighbors are Energy Fuels, the company that processes raw uranium into yellow cake. Not too long ago, there was the uranium from Grand Canyon has been hauled through the land of the Navajos and the tribal Utes. So that this is the reason why a convention is being held here. So as you know, the story behind Native Americans that have been involved with uranium mining during the Cold War, where the United States, fearing during the Cold War era, that there was a demand to mine uranium to develop America's nuclear weapons program. And the Native Americans, many of them had mined uranium with no warning, no education, no safety, no sanitation facilities, and they were sent into the mines with a shovel and a pick. So many of these miners, including my father, died from lung cancer at age 43. And many of these miners were in their young age, and all they did was to provide for their families, but none of them really knew what being patriotic is. So, with the mining and milling of uranium on the native land, there's approximately 30 million tons of uranium that was mined and put into American nuclear weapon program. So what during the time that this all happened, 15, 20 years later, many of these miners were diagnosed with lung disease, with lung cancers, and various illnesses associated with exposure. And that is happening. As you know now that since the end of the mining in 1990, many of them have died. So this is something that never should have taken place. So we call this federal government, federal negligence, and we're trying to resolve some of these right now, like uh, cleaning up of abandoned mines, paying attention to the waters, the aquifers that were contaminated, their land are contaminated, the vegetation's been contaminated, and it's been a slow process for any kind of cleanup. So to this day, we are still working on how to clean up these mines, how to do it, who's going to pay for it. It's been a slow process. So as you know, that Native Americans, they treasure their land, they treasure their herbs and medicinal plants, and yet this has to happen. This should have never happened before. And the compensation programs were developed. The compensation programs is very small, and that's not going to resolve what we're dealing with. As many families, many spouses, many children, grandchildren, they're still grieving for their father or their grandfathers and those that engage in mining. This is still something that is really a nightmare for a lot of people. So to this day, we are fighting to not let any more uranium mining or permit hauling of toxic chemicals, toxic waste, or any form of uranium that is now being forbidden, and we're fighting that. So I'd just like to let the world know that a lot of our leaders don't know really what happened during the mining days from 1950 to 1990. So we tried, a few of us, our grassroots committee has been traveling back and forth to Washington to initiate another compensation program. And lo and behold, on July 4th, 2025, President Donald Trump has signed into law that the new RICA law has been approved. So as of now, this is something that we have been doing, is prepping claims, ordering Social Security work history, and directing minors to get medical screening. And up to this day, we're still working on this. We're helping the new people that might be eligible for compensation. But then again, these federal compensation program, they're very stringent, and the Navajos interpret this law as having a foot on the grave and a foot on the land. So this is not something that people enjoys, but at least it's a little financial relief for a lot of families. For myself and my grassroots committee, the Navajo Uranium Radiation Victims Committee, that has been established in late 1970s, and this is my 47th year working on behalf of my people, not just our Native people, all those other nationalities that have engaged in mining. So our little community, our little committee has played a significant role trying to get people compensated. Other than that, we're also leading up to efforts to clean up the uranium mines and abandoned mill sites and waters that are contaminated. So all of that is taking place here. We are very happy that the 119th U.S. Congress have signed this into law. But unfortunately, we did not get all the proposed changes that we were looking forward to. One of them is the removal of the affidavit, which is going to help a lot of the downwinders, people with primary cancer. So we can't use the affidavit. The other thing that was also removed was that we were also requesting for uh, funds for health studies. It's called the epidemiology health studies. We were asking for $9 million, and that was also removed. The other thing that was also removed, so they can't have any additional compensation, which they should honor that, because people have been misled and people have died. The additional compensation, yes, would have been a helpful thing to relieve some financial stress, because people travel miles and miles to get their appointment, to get their treatment. So there is really a lack of resources. And our land is so remote to the point where that people does not afford travel to medical facilities. So now with the new law, we have only 2 years to help people establish claims, meaning finding credible work history, running them through medical screening for chest X-ray, pulmonary function tests, blood gas tests, any diagnosis or any other consequential illness associated with their exposure. That's what we've been working on. And like I said, we only have 2 years to do this, and we're trying to move as fast as we can. So we are out there every day trying to help people. So today, there's a book that came out, and this is the booklet that I took to Washington, and a binder that we put together with resolutions, payment data, and that really has been a helpful binder that I took to Washington the first week in June, and I think that really made it to the point where that their questions were answered in this binder. So that we're happy that RICA law has been expanded, and also reauthorization of the program. So that's been done. So like I said, it's a small window. We need to hurry. We need to get this done. We've been meeting every week in Gallup, New Mexico, and the Eastern Agency of the Navajo Nation, that we've been meeting with a lot of these post 71 uranium workers, those that worked from 1972 to 1990. So that's been keeping us busy. Thank you.